thoughts on the game?
Hey Jacob, I can see you on Zoom. My overall thoughts on the game are really happy we could get the win. Loads of things that we could be better at. But I think, very similar to how we treated the Challenge Cup when we had the Challenge Cup, we commit to using these opportunities to develop the roster and the team. So really glad we did that. Obviously Utah pretty much played their best team available outside of the keeper probably. And I didn't think we had patches where we did some really good stuff and we forced it a little bit, but we dug in and, I said to the players at the end, I think they need to enjoy the fact that we've won a game because we've been in games where we've played much better than we did tonight and we haven't won. So my overall thoughts are just I'm so glad we were able to win. I think that this tournament, we can use it as the way we've done previously with the Challenge Cup, the Women's Cup, and it just galvanises the roster. The only sour note is probably Ryan, so yeah.
And then talking about those players and that development, can you just speak about particularly the players who made their debuts today, Sam, Julia and Ainsley, and how you felt they did today?
I thought Julia was excellent. She's waited a long time to get her opportunity today. I thought Sam was great when she came on, with a ton of energy, and showed some really good moments. I thought she was going to score. And yeah, nice to get Ainsley on. I think she's a 6 by nature, but to come in that late in a game and that young, and be expected just to see a game out is tough, but she did great. I think she was definitely nervous going on, but really happy that she could get a debut and can't wait for Jordan to get that opportunity, I'm sure, next week.
Could we get your perspective on how tonight's win helped shapes the team's confidence going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think that all 3 games, and hopefully 4, I think can really help us. And I say that with experience, really, from, like I said before, the Women's Cup when we went to Louisville, the Challenge Cup in previous years. It gives both the starters some perspective and it gives those players that have been chomping at the bit to try and get on the field some hope and some validation as well, which is great, and I think that's what we've used these moments for before. I thought Liv, Athens, steps up, takes penalty, shows some really good moments as well, and she's been biding her time. All the players that don't get to play a ton of minutes tonight, I thought really stepped up and showed why they're here, why they're at this club. So it was great.
And what were a couple key adjustments and points on locking in tonight's win compared to the last time with that late equalizer? Because they were still pushing at the very end.
Honestly, that we probably didn't shoot ourselves in the foot. I think that's probably the difference, is we actually didn't make a mistake that cost us, and it nearly happened off the corner when Phoebe came back, and it's those little moments that I stand on the side and I get very frustrated about it, but I feel so bad for them because I'm like, you're doing everything right and you've just made one split second error, and you get punished. And tonight, Phoebe chased all that way back to stop that from being the case. And I think those little moments can really define changes in your season. But we've got to make sure that we don't let those things happen. That's the key part. This league's too good.
So, Coach, I feel like Adamas is a real clever player.
Mm-hmm.
Plays on the half turn.
Yeah.
Is pretty aggressive. What do you kind of need to see from a young player like that for her to get on the field a little more?
Yeah, I think for Emery, she's been away at camp as well, so that we were never going to play her 90 tonight. We were actually going to play her 45, but pushed her a little bit further. I think for the hard thing for her is this league's so demanding on both sides of the ball, and what she's absolutely brilliant at is she's creative, right? She has this creative 1v1 Maverick-esque about her. But sometimes, just because she has never been asked to do it before, the defensive side of the game could become something where she's like, oh my God, I've got to keep doing it, And tonight I actually thought she did probably the best defensive job she's done, which is brilliant. And still she was a threat, because I think in other games she's done a really good defensive job, but we've had she's never been able to get in the attacking phase. I thought tonight she actually did both really well, which is great. So that's probably the answer, is how do we find the balance where she knows what she has to do defensively, she understands it. How can she execute that and still have that creativity threat on the other side of the ball, which I thought she showed tonight, which is good.
Laura, you mentioned Utah had started what was kind of like an ideal starting lineup for their players, and came out with what seemed like the same, like a lot of pressure on your defensive end and quite physical, it seemed like. I'm just wondering, like, how do you think with so much rotation the players did to solve that on their own?
Yeah, I honestly thought some of the challenges were a lot, if I'm honest. And the fact that we've been asked to play 5 days after the mandatory break, I don't think is the most players' health and safety thing that we've ever asked the players to do. And I thought that we expected them to press us, but what comes with that is, tough challenges, the physicality. We knew we were going to have to win first and second ball. It's pretty Nikki Stanton's game to do that. And we asked a lot of her today, because we put her in there pretty much on our own at times. And I thought we handled it well. I thought we got a little bit cautious, at times, and then we weren't able to get pressure on the ball when they won it back. And they played a couple of passes that then really hurt us. And I think that's something we've got to get better at, is if a team like Utah wants to mix it up and be physical and then also play, how can we sort of match that and then show our real quality as well? But tonight was always going to be tough. Playing on a Friday after a mandatory break outside of a FIFA break is close to absurd, if you ask me. And unfortunately, we have a player that got injured because of it. So.
Yeah. Very unrelated, but I was going to ask, we got to see Ainsley, you mentioned Jordan's time is coming. Just wondering what else you want to share about them and what you think they bring to the team. Yeah,
I think that, we had a very clear sort of idea that we wanted to look at potential best young talent coming through. And we've had quite a few players come into our environment and train. Emery was the first. And then these two were part of a group of quite a few who came in to train. And I think with who we have in the positions that they play in, and the age at which some of our players are that play in those positions, without naming any names, the fact that these kids can come in and learn from them and then hopefully take the torch from them is fantastic. And I think even for someone like Emery, I wish we'd have had Emery last year so she could have had a year with Pino, because I think that would have elevated her game like it's elevated Z's game. I think Z's game's elevated because of having that experience with Pino. So I just think that that's part of the evolution of the game and we've never really had the opportunity to do this before, where you can truly invest in that young talent, because we weren't resourced really to do it, and now we are, and I think we're going to get resourced even more with the new ownership group to really know that, is Ainsley going to be who we want her to be today, or Jordan? No. Or Emery? No. But can we provide them with opportunities, development, platforms, both with us and at youth national team level, so that they can one day become the next whoever in our team? And hopefully Jordan, Emery and Ainsley will all get to play in a World Cup this year, and that will be a huge development opportunity for them. It means that we miss out on something because we won't have them for a couple of games, but it means that as a club it shows that we're willing to see the long-term vision in probably what's always been a short-term fix. I think the NWSL has always been a place where you have to solve things and you have to solve it now. And I think we're turning that tide round to seeing long-term vision, long-term planning. And I'm all about that. And I probably have a reputation that I'm not, and I actually really am. But I think before it was tough because the league wasn't set up for that, and I think now it is. So I've long-winded answer, but yeah, I'm just really happy that we're in a position where we can give these players a platform to grow.
Hey Laura, I know earlier you talked about Sam Mez's energy in this one, but I know she's gone through a lot to get to this point. Can you expand a little bit on her journey to get to this debut and what we can see from her?
Yeah, she's definitely had a journey, and you know it's so interesting, and how all the young players that come in have these different journeys. It's so crazy, and it's so unpredictable in some ways. Like, I thought Sam would be the one that was the most ready to be a pro, and she just had things thrown at her constantly that meant that it was just really difficult for her. But I said to the players before the game, I watched something today about being great, what being great means. And being great is about turning up every day, being the best you can possibly be every day, waiting for your opportunity, and when you get it, taking it. And her journey is probably a really good example of that, because I thought she was great today. And she's had to turn up when things haven't been going quite right for her, and do the best she possibly can at that time. And that might have been really hard, to wait to get an opportunity. And when she got it, she was great. And I think what we have to look at now with all of the players that we have who haven't had tons of minutes is, when the Summer Cup ends, is what does the next 6 months look like for them, right? And we've done it before where we've loaned people out and they haven't appeared back at the club, and we've loaned people out like Ryan and Alyssa, who it was very clear that they were going to come back. And that might be a platform for some of these young players, that we have the opportunity to potentially do that. And I think for some of them, it's about showing that they can get more minutes with us now towards the end of the season. And I think none of that is decided yet. And I think giving them the opportunity to show what they can do in our team right now is really exciting. God, I'm talking a lot tonight, am I?
It's fun. Keeping in that youth sort of sense, I know she didn't make a debut of sorts, but Maddie Mercado, I was excited to see her minutes. What did you like from her in this match?
I think Maddie's a great player. I think Maddie, very similar to Sam actually, like in the way we play, she could play anywhere in midfield, anywhere across the front line. She can play in anyone. We practice penalties all this week. She takes them with both feet. Like, she is very talented. She's got an athletic presence about her too, which is great. And she's been one that has been great all season. Turned up every day, trained like it matters, often with the best player in training, and just bided her time. And really happy that she was able to get a start tonight.
Last one from Jeff.
We've talked a lot about the young players. You also, late in the match, brought in some of the regular starters, Ciara, Bethany, Sophia, and that was the combination that was the winning goal.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about how committing to that wing play that you've been getting, pushing the outside backs forward. Ciara's patience on the ball to Sophia. Can you talk about how that was to get that kind of
I was screaming at Sophia to go. I honestly didn't even know who crossed it. I was just watching Soph. I was like, go! Because I just knew she could have that opportunity. And it's something we've talked about, we've worked on a lot. I'm definitely biased. I think Soph's one of the best fullbacks in the league, hands down. And I think what she possesses that others don't is that. I think she knows how to score goals. And I think if we can unleash that on top of her crossing ability, her defending ability, and all the other, passing qualities that she has, if we can add scoring goals into that repertoire, it'd be hard to find someone better than that. And she was unlucky at Gotham not to get a goal. And tonight I was really happy for her. But I honestly, until you just said, I didn't even know Z crossed it. I was just watching Soph and screaming at her to keep going. So I black out at goals. You all know this. I'm a psycho.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Laura.
Thanks guys.